recording just for giggles. I'm going to have to watch myself because sometimes I get to be inappropriate. So all you Blab people.
Well, that's what we're here for, man.
I spent 25 years in manufacturing, so the mouth sometimes.
I totally know how you roll.
Oh, let me welcome you into the room. Let me welcome you.
Welcome.
If TweetDeck would move as fast as I'd like it to move. Big welcome to hashtag. No hashtag. You guys get to watch us do this simultaneously.
Yeah, Ross, this is a Blab and a Twitter chat at the same time. Remember somebody asked us if we were doing that last week? And we were like, no.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Well, you know what? I've been wanting to try it and can't always try it. And I figured no one's expecting it. So.
Well, I am game for this challenge. I'm going to be like doing this. Fingers crazy.
You're typing,
ready to roll.
But my TweetDeck is very slow.
I'm actually pleased that Tweet Chat's keeping up. Because I've got my 3 monitors. We got Twitter window over here and Tweet Chat over here, and they're happening at the same time. So
they're happening. Okay.
They're happening. All right. Let's do it.
Hey, I'm an influencer again. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
I just got featured again. This is like a whole other conversation, the whole influencer thing. All right.
Oh yeah.
Now we're into.
It's hard.
Rachel.
I am an influencer. I'm a self-declared. So.
Yeah. Oh, there's this. Oh my God! It's Martin Lindeskog from Sweden. We were just talking about the Swedish Medical Center.
Yes, we were.
Martin is a hoot and a half. The man doesn't sleep.
I admire that. I've actually tried to take that on. I would like that talent because there are some days I'm like, I don't have time. I need to have more awake time.
But I think you're standing, and that's cool because last Friday we were I did a Blab with Stephanie Sims, and Blab ate my Blab, and it was one of the better ones we had. It was all about money. So we were like rocking to money songs.
Money. Yeah, I have had that happen too. I actually need to email them and say, please help me.
Patrick's here. Hey, Patrick. Patrick wrote a whole blog post on this.
So saw that.
Have to bring him.
I love that too. The 40 and up. That was so great. And that's all what I'm about. I love it.
That's what I am, like way over 40. So
I am over 40. That's all I'm going to say. But no.
There's a whole other conversation on that, Chicklet. It's a marketing thing. You know what my strategy is? Okay, ready? Do you know how old I am?
You are over 40.
I am 62.
No way. See? You are not.
See, the only possible response when I say that is, what? Damn, you look good. I don't know why women lie about their age.
I used to work with women. They're like, every birthday was like, I'm 29 again. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not 29.
If you say you're 29 again, the only response is like, ooh, looking a little rough.
Right?
But 29, right?
All right.
Shit. Okay. Oh, come back, TweetDeck. Where are you?
Come back.
So I asked Rachel a question. Here it's back. I'm asking Rachel a question.
Mm-hmm.
What is Snapchat?
What is
Rachel?
Snapchat? All right. Well, Snapchat, I like to think of it as this, and guys, by the way, I'm going to be looking here and looking there because we've got Blab and Twitter at the same time. But I see Snapchat as this DNA mix of a few platforms. Bear with me. So I believe it carries with the brevity of Twitter because you can only do 10-second snaps. It's not like Periscope where you can go on and on or anything like that. It has the shelf life of Periscope because your snap only lasts 24 hours and then poof, it's gone. And then it has the messaging versatility of Facebook Messenger. And if you guys use Facebook Messenger, which probably everybody's going to start using it because it's become the thing, is that you can do videos, you can do audios, you can do stickers, GIFs, all those things in a Facebook Messenger chat. So Snapchat is that trifecta of DNA that has all of those things. It's the super child of those, all those cool features of those platforms. And that's really what I believe Snapchat brings to us today.
But, you know, I think while you post your answers up for the tweet people, I have found, and I'd love to hear what you all people have to say about this. I find the interface really clunky, right? Like it took me forever to figure out how it works. Now, my son I have a 16-year-old, and he was on Snapchat like when it first started, right? And I totally get, and he's on Kick now mostly. I don't know what he's on this week, right? He's on Kick for a while, right? Where they have their little community of friends and they are going back and forth with their little messages, whatever it is that they do. I mean, while I digress, can I tell you, at a 16-year-old, he doesn't care whether he drives or not. Why? Because he's forever connected with his friends virtually. It's just like not like back in the day. You did not drive. You had no connection because
that's right.
Your friends were long distance. That cost too much money and everything was really, really hard. And so driving was important. Not so important now. They're all connected and they were snapping. But he showed me a couple things, but that's something I've always admired about you. I mean, maybe that's like question number 2, right? Which is, and maybe Patrick, you want to come in here and talk about like, what do you do when you're over 40? I mean, that's a big question. That's why I wanted to blab with you too, because it's so much more than this idea of sending messages and tweets and stuff.
Well, and Ross just pointed out on the Twitter chat of this, which is a great point. This isn't intuitive for people because they are used to other social networks. The interface is not intuitive. I'm just going to upfront say that. Once you get in it though, then you're like, oh, I know where to go. But yeah, it's not your normal social media app.
Right. So like, how long does it take you? I mean, people, you got to follow Rachel, right? Rachel, you're Rachel really on Snapchat too, right?
That is okay. So that's one thing. So I have my official name is Rachel_Really. My username is Rachel Really Soc, SOC. And I'll put that in the blab too. But and again, that's why sometimes you want to get into an app early, even if you have no intention of using it, because then you can make sure you grab that username that is closest to your brand. That was the closest I could get, and therefore I have it. But it's also my Twitter avatar is my snap code, which you can scan via Snapchat. Patrick's also snapping me too. Patrick, I'm gonna have to get to you in a little bit because I can only handle 2 apps at once. Okay, I've got 2.
And just for you folks, if you guys have questions for Rachel, ask away while I respond to a few tweets and put out the next question.
Thank you. Thanks, Ross, for that. That was so nice. Yeah, and also, guys, honestly, if you tweet at me or if you snap at me, I answer every tweet, and it may not be in this hour, but I will answer it. So at Rachel_Really, ask me anything. Well, within reason. And then, but I will answer it on Snapchat or Twitter. And that's one thing we'll talk about with the etiquette part coming up later in the chat. So.
Yeah, absolutely. That is. And Rachel, I have to tell you, I don't know how other folks are. I was just telling you that I ended up on another influencer list this morning. I just found out.
Nice.
And one of the things that's really, really important, and I've run into this a few times, is that there are people who are quote unquote influencers and they talk about relationship and they talk about engagement, but the truth of the matter is if you try to engage with them, they're not really there.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm so glad that you said what you did, that you answer every question, because that's really important to me. That's the true sign of someone who's an expert and influencer, because you're always engaging with folks.
Thanks. And I do make it, I expand it more. I don't just say thanks, like, oh, I'll just give you an obligatory thing. It's a real thing. I'm interested in you guys. So that's what I'm there for. So yeah, tweet at me any questions. I swear to you, I will get responses to you today. So.
Awesome. So I'm asking the second question, which is, when should you choose Snapchat as a social channel?
Sure. Here's the thing. It is primarily a messaging app. So I want to be clear about that, because messaging apps we think of is, and actually just to answer that's at Rachel_Really is my Twitter name. So if you click on my Blab username, you'll actually see it. But Snapchat is messaging versus like Twitter being like everything's, you know, public and, you know, it's out there. I mean, it's 100% public unless you go direct messages, and it's more for pushing out content. Facebook, you guys see the same thing. You're sharing pictures and all this stuff. It's social media versus messaging. If you guys have ever used WhatsApp and things like that, these are primarily communication apps. And Snapchat was designed and is designed still to be a communication app, a messaging app versus just blast, blast, blast. So you can tell that in there, and that it's got, you know, you don't have followers, you don't have fans, you have friends. Those are your friends on Snapchat. So it really is designed optimally for that, to find new people and create and cultivate those relationships with them, because you have private snaps in there and nobody sees those except the two people in the snap. So it really is for that. So that's where I think it really for businesses or for social channels rather, that you are trying to develop those relationships versus just saying, hey, everybody, look at me. So very much more for that.
I can't say, I'm going to let you put the rest of your stuff up there while I go on, which is somehow, I'm going to rant again. Somehow we go through and pollute. Can I just say we marketers piss in our own pond? And that drives me completely crazy, because Twitter started out as a sort of a messaging app where and I remember when it first came out, I was actually trying to find people at a restaurant. And so we were all connected on Twitter, and I'm like, where are you guys? Like, we're in the back room. And you know, it was a communication tool where you got to build relationships and get to meet new people. And in a lot of ways, sort of the way you and I met, you know, I saw you on a tweet chat. We kind of went back and forth, and now you changed some stuff around because I think I was going to be on something of yours and I couldn't make it. And then you changed something. So I'm like, I can do it now. I can do it.
Nice. Let's do it.
So there's a couple, you know, so now this relationship moves forward. But what my concern is, and I see a lot of people on Snapchat, whether they're brands, that's a whole other question. What's the difference between what we do as people and what these brands are doing? And oh my God, I have so many questions.
Well, and I think, you've got, I think the rest of the questions actually kind of deal with that too. But, and Ross just asked that here in the Blab too. He's like, how important are sharing stories for businesses? Totally important. And the crux of that comes to the fact that, we're all consumers, and we realize we're consuming from a person. We're dealing with a person. There are always people. We're not totally inundated with Terminator bots that are selling us things and have no feelings. We're dealing with people who are buying these brands. So it's absolutely important to share stories, because it humanizes a brand. It acknowledges saying, yep, I'm a human over here and I'm helping you as a human with this brand. So sharing those stories is totally key, and there are ways to do it. And speaking from where I used to do social media for healthcare, which has all the HIPAA and everything, you've got to deal with that. If you have people working at your brand, you've got stories. So you have them. So, and they can come from all kinds of places like reviews and stuff. So you can definitely, you should definitely incorporate stories in. And I know that was something you're going to ask too in a little bit about how we get there, but I would absolutely incorporate that.
So let's switch over and talk about Snapchat users, right? So I've done a little bit of research, and the statistics are amazing on the blog post that I posted over the weekend on DIY Marketers. Put a bunch of stats out there about Snapchat, and it's primarily for the millennials, although we'll bring Patrick in here at some point and talk about that.
Yes.
But what is the profile, even of a small business owner that wants to use Snapchat?
I'm going to say, and this does make it extraordinarily broad, but I think that's the advantage. I don't think there's a cookie cutter Snapchatter user. I mean, you're not gonna Snapchatter. You're not, it's not like saying, well, I need to be between the ages of 18 and 30 and really know how to tell stories like doing video editing and stuff and be funny. Nope, no, that is totally not the case. Successful Snapchatters are two things. They're authentic and they're responsive, which means you're being yourself. And yes, that might mean, I go on and do a little quirky, skits about my kids or whatever, or I just get on there and talk about me being a business owner and it's just really from the heart. But as long as you're being authentic and yourself, you've already fulfilled half of that requirement. The other half is being responsive, which we touched on earlier. You have to respond to people. If you're just doing snaps out into the cosmos and people are trying to respond, react to them, ask you questions, and you're just like, nope, then don't. Get off Snapchat, please. Nobody wants that. Okay, and it's not what it's for. So you just need to be authentic and responsive. I think that's really where it gets to. And it is just about real conversations. You're there to converse. You're there to react to those people and start those things up and keep a conversation going with people. I think that's all you really need to get on Snapchat. And then obviously just an app and figuring out which button to push and which little side arrow to hit.
Yeah, exactly. Figuring out which buttons to push. I think, at some point, and with millennials being popular users, I think that there is a difference for someone like me that's been, I actually love all kinds of apps and things. I'm all about it. But at the same time, I will get on Snapchat. I'm like, okay, I'm going to figure this puppy out.
Yeah. Right.
Right. But then somewhere, when you said being authentic, somewhere for me, I get I might get inspired and I want to do something quickly. And then I'm like, okay, let's see. You had a little coffee cup on your thing and you had little language, learning these things just takes time. I mean, do you have tips for how to practice and learn?
Well, as far as doing the snaps and adding all the things and being creative.
Yeah. Exactly.
I've been trying to integrate, and busy people, it's really hard. So I totally acknowledge that. I've been trying to incorporate where each morning I'll go in and see what the filters are for the day. Because each day the filters, you can add all these different filters to your face and things like that, or it's a location filter. They change every day. And so I'll go in and just try to kind of look is there anything that would, just so I know what's up for the day. Okay, is there anything that would fit into something later? I just want to know I'm familiar. And then later I might be like, oh my gosh, there's one with tears streaming with makeup streaming. I could totally do a snap about that because I'm upset about something or I'm tired or whatever. So I would say that. And then there are a ton of emojis in there too, and just kind of trying them out, seeing which ones. I usually find I revisit the same emojis because, I talk about some of the same things or themes. So I think just playing around. And guys, you can make a snap. That's what's so nice about it. You can make a snap and see if you like it, and you can even save it to your phone and not snap it out. You don't have to send it to anybody. You can just test it out and be like, that one looked really cool. That one, no, that didn't like the way that one looked or whatever. And, test it out and see if you like it and do things like that. But just playing around in it is fun, which, does take a little time.
Yeah, I think, one of the games I play with and I've done this with Snapchat a little bit. I don't know if you saw the one where I went on, where I took everybody on the tour of the Cleveland market.
Oh, yeah.
That was me trying to play with it. What I'll do is I'll say, okay, today I'm going to run at least 50% of my social media communication off of this app. Right. Yeah. So if I'm trying to learn TweetDeck, it's today it's going to be TweetDeck and, it's Snapchat and so on and so forth. That's another one of my tips for how I get used to it. I'm still trying to get used to being on camera.
Yep. I think that's for real for a lot of people.
Everybody's got this problem. Everyone's got this problem,
Yes.
So it's so you have to, the best advice I ever got was to get over myself.
Yes, I know. And that's really hard. That's hard for people to do. And it does take just some repetition, I think, to get it under take wing with it, if you will. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And to get used to kind of how you look and how you occur on camera and so on and so forth. Right now I'm still in my workout gear and my day is halfway done.
I have some comfy jeans on, so it's all
awesome. I'm all better living through chemistry and material.
Yeah, and that's for real stuff. That's authentic. So you're
okay. So I'm on track. I'm right on track. Nice. Right. Okay. So here's my question. Let's talk about etiquette. Right. What are some do's and don'ts on Snapchat for those of us in the gifted class?
Okay. And again, this is going on Twitter as well. So I've tweeted those responses out too. But here's the do's. Here are the do's. Respond to private snaps. I don't care who snaps to you. If you friended, added them as a friend, that you should respond. Even if it's something saying, hey, just authentically respond. Don't let a snap just sit out there and never get a response from you. Okay. be yourself in your snaps. Be yourself in your snaps. Be yourself. Yes, be yourself. But you should be yourself. If for no other reason, then that's the easiest thing to remember to be. You don't have to be a fake person. I have heard of people who have 2 Snapchat accounts. One's their personal, one's their professional. That's fine if you have the wherewithal to do that. Because I get it, you know, sometimes you might have your LinkedIn persona versus your Twitter persona, and maybe your LinkedIn one's a little more professional than your Twitter one. Totally fine. If you can mix the two and do them both the same one, that's great. But be yourself, and again, people will either gravitate to you because they relate, or they will say, nope, I'm going to move on to somebody else. That's okay. You want organic people to follow you. And then I have a don't in a minute, but also open your settings to welcome private snaps from anyone. And I really encourage that if your whole goal in there, particularly for your business owner or someone who wants to cultivate that following or those relationships with potential customers or referrals, you should open in your settings to where everyone can send you a snap, a private snap. That means if they're watching your story, they should be able to see at the bottom of their screen a little chat option. They click it, then they can type you a message. And that opens that private snap conversation with you. So I do recommend you do that because then anybody can talk to you, and you're opening that versus making it harder for them to be like, let me back out and go find a different way to snap you. The reason that's key is because while your snap story is going on is that you want to be able to let them say, ooh, what you just said in that snap is important. Let me hit the chat thing so I can just respond to that right away. If you make them wait to watch the rest of your story and then try to go out and find you and react to you, they're not going to remember what they wanted to say. This is like conversation, guys. So again, it's almost like when your kid, oh my gosh, I really have something to say. And no, you must wait your turn. It's like, oh, well, I forgot what I wanted to say. So give them the opportunity to spontaneously react to your snaps.
I love that. And Martin, who is Lyceum there, Martin, he said, he says, are there a lot of creepy people on Snapchat? I tell you, Martin, I don't know. Rachel might know, but I will tell you there are some creepy people on Blab.
Yeah.
So there's some creepy people.
Periscope too.
Yeah, I think there's going to be creepy people everywhere you go.
Well, and let's look at that too, because if you're authentic, if you're a creepy person, well, yeah, you're going to find the creepy people. If you're not creepy, they're probably not going to stick with you, especially if they find that you're not going to engage. Like, no, you know, that's not why I'm here. Thanks. And then they'll move on. And if they don't, then you just unfriend them and stuff like that. That's fine. But there are absolutely going to be creepers out there. I think I've only encountered 2 Snapchat people who I was like, yeah, I'm totally not gonna follow you anymore because you and I are just on different wavelengths kind of thing, and that's fine. That's like going to what are those really speed dating things? You're like, okay, sat here, did this isn't working out. Let's move on. So that's all you have to do.
That's a great point you got there. And then go ahead
for the don'ts, just really quick. Don't sales pitch me every snap you do. I'm fine if you want to share a web link or something you're up to. I do that. Be like, hey, if you guys want, come hop over here. On this Blab today, we're going to talk about Snapchat. You're already on Snapchat if I'm snapping that to you, but come over if you want. I'm doing this. But don't do that every story, every day. Oh my gosh. I just don't. Really, because at that point, it's like, well, why am I here? Why do I care? So don't do that. And then, again, don't ignore private snaps. Also, don't, and again, be authentic. Don't rant all the time. That just is negative. And again, you might find, it's just like the creepers, you might find people who love that. They just love being negative all the time. Good for you. I'm not going to follow you. I like positivity. I like when people are real and they can say, this bothers me and I did that today, but it's not every snap. It's not like everything's like, oh my God, this, oh my God, that, oh, this is awful. Oh, the world's unfair. Oh, this. It's like, all right, well, when are we talking about something else? So again, I just don't think that's the best practice to get on there and just vent and rant every snap or even every other snap. So
well, So that's great. I mean, people do want to know who you are. They want to know what your opinion is, but at the same time, I think it has to have purpose. And I don't know that maybe I did ask that in the one question.
Mm-hmm.
How can small businesses benefit from using Snapchat? Right. My tweet deck sort of did something. I don't know if it's up there yet.
I did see it. Yeah, it's on.
Okay, good. So, one of the things I think, it seems like every conversation around small business and marketing and social media and research all starts with goals, right? So, you have to be really, really clear. And to your point, if people are like selling, I keep telling people, and when social media first came up on the scene and I got involved in it, the first question everyone asked me was, how do I make money with social media? Mm-hmm. How do I sell with social? And I'm like, I think that's the wrong question. It's not the purpose is not selling. The purpose is connecting.
Well, right. And okay, you want to make money on social. That's great. Don't you get money from other people? And don't those people, you want them to come back to you and bring money back each time because you've proven you're consistent and true and deal with them well and they get good service. Guess what? That's not going to be from you jabbing at them with your sales pitch every 5 seconds. So you cultivate that and you build that customer base because you're real. And Carlos Gill's been great on this topic is because he's talked about how this is such a sales opportunity platform and not again in the whole buy my car, but salespeople can be on here and show that they're real people on Snapchat, talk to people about what they do, but they also talk, you're showing that you're a real life person. And then they show that they care about that potential customer too. Be like, hey, I noticed you were talking about this need in your life. Can I help? That right there is huge. There's huge benefit there and huge possibilities. So I love that is something he's talked about. And it really is I think a thus far untapped aspect of Snapchat so far.
Agreed. So I'm going to move on to question 6, which is not posted yet.
Okay,
folks.
No problem.
As my system goes
while
through
you're
its little
doing
thing.
that, I'll say a little more. So
answer some questions.
Yeah, so I tweeted these answers to question 5 on Twitter. So how can small businesses benefit from using Snapchat? Again, consider how important you guys, if you're in sales or in your business, referrals are gold to you because even if somebody doesn't buy or your goods or services, they like you and believe in you, they have other people in their life that might need that. They'll refer you. And that's gold. I have to say, as a business owner, 95% of my business has come from referrals. I don't have to do a whole lot of cold selling, which is huge. So think about that in context of Snapchat is that, you build that relationship with people authentically. Even if they don't buy from you, they'll be like, yeah, but I got you in mind when my buddy Steve over here needs this, and I know you provide it. Easy over there. And then, again, getting back to the stories and that these are people, customers know they're dealing with real people. And if they see that personality in Snapchat and they're like, okay, you're representing this brand and this is you, I like this. I can relate to this. I feel like I'm dealing with a human and not just some cold call center somewhere. So again, that is a huge way you can come through on Snapchat and just develop new customer relationships or find new customers that way.
Awesome. I love it. So this, I believe, is question 6. It's coming from DIY Marketers today. Brought to you from DIY Marketers because it's just, I think I'm chewing up all my RAM is what I think is happening.
Oh, that can happen. I know. I love it when I do that.
I'm on my mini computer today because this is like a slightly unrelated topic. My MacBook Pro screen had the funkiness on it. Ooh. Something happened with the screen.
Right.
It's like whatever varnish or something special coating they had on there over the last couple of years. It's just worn off. So I took it to the store and they're like, we will replace this for you. And I'm like, you rock. But I'm on my little tiny Air, which only is my travel computer. So it's like going RAM.
We need more RAM. Gotta have more cowbell. We need more cowbell.
More power. More cowbell. All right. So the question I just posted up there, not sure if you see it, was what are the best things to post on Snapchat? You talked about being authentic. The reason I even asked you here is because I follow your snaps and I'm sure that this is the desired result, right?
Yes.
I feel like I get to know you and I'm like, where does she come up with this stuff? Talk about what you put up there today. Sure.
Okay.
And what you put up there any day and what inspires you and how do we learn from that?
Well, and let me say this, and I appreciate you saying that. I am seeing a lot of fun results coming from Snapchat that are letting me branch out farther than I probably could have if I wasn't on it. So there's just know that, guys. But I have to say that I get inspired by other Snapchatters. I'm one guy, and I will do a little plug here, but I'm going to be interviewing him on my hashtag Let's Livestream show this Wednesday. Is Chris Monachino, and he is awesome. He gets on there and he plans out these stories. He's got cards he holds up. He looks at filters. He plans out. He has people act in them with him and times it out and everything. So I take cue from that, especially like for stuff like today. So today is an in-service day for my kids. So they are here with me today. And as someone who works out of her house, that makes things interesting, especially when I'm like, oh, I'm going to be on this chat today, and now it's going to be Blab, and oh my gosh. So what I did this morning was, usually I do car talk on weekdays because after I've dropped the kids off, I come back, and that just evolved from what I usually do. I don't know if you guys do this too, but I get back, I'm sitting in the car, I could go into a nice warm empty house, but instead it's therapeutic for me to just sit in my car, look at my phone, and just sit there for 10 minutes. So what I did was I thought, I'm just going to turn this into a segment because I'm sitting there anyway and I'm thinking about things. So that's what I do on weekday mornings. It just developed into something I've already done. And I try, well, I can probably provide something helpful too. And so that's the other thing, is that I try to provide helpful things, relatable things. I ask questions. So, you know, if it's talking about, hey, do any of you ever, you know, I just experienced this with my kids. Do any of you ever experience that? Tell me about it. Or I also do a double tap thing. I'm like, if you're not a parent, tap twice, double tap, and you'll skip right past this parental observation. But things like that that are interactive and just saying, hey, I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about stuff that I go through, but I'm sure you guys can relate, or if you can, let me know. And then it's just moving on that way. But that's what I do. And then it is about knowing the tool and realizing what you can do. Another one of my friends, gosh, I'm trying to remember which one he is, and I'm going to remember by the end of the snap because it's awesome. Or by the end of this Blab. But he will, if he sees an ambulance go by, he'll snap it and then he puts it on reverse. So you just says, and then and Chris will do the same thing where he'll throw something. He'll snap himself throwing something, but then he snaps it in reverse. You can set a reverse mode to it, so it's like he's bringing it back. And that's just inventive stuff like that. It's like, ooh, you know, stuff that makes you kind of stop and, ooh, I want to watch that. So that's what I do. I mean, I think it correlates into what I would normally do in the course of my day and just normal stuff. That's me. It's authenticity. But then you are trying to put a little creative spin, like, well, what can I do to make this adaptable to my audience and let them interact with it? So a lot of words there to describe just some different approaches and things you guys can try to get your stuff out there. And I don't know if I did post. Good. I don't know if I posted. Did I post the answer?
And you know, and that's actually almost like where I got into what are the best kinds of snaps, which you just sort of answered right there. Mm-hmm. You know, so what I hear you saying as for the best kinds of snaps is take the time to observe your day.
Yes.
And maybe, do you think or maybe I'm overthinking this. Am I overthinking this?
Possibly.
Right?
Well, because if you get started with that, it's instantly overwhelming. No one's asking you to be a video producer, and that takes a lot, you know, because it's like, oh my God, I got to think about lighting, and I got to think about what am I going to do and storyboard it out. You don't have to go that way right away. You could evolve into that, but not everybody does. Some of the snaps I like a lot are people. All they're doing is sitting, and they might do a few snaps on a topic. And then it switches up, and then they're showing me something about their world. And then, so it changes up, and I'm getting an authentic look into their day. And as they go, it's been fun for me to watch people grow on Snapchat where they're like, and myself probably too, where you are seeing them kind of like, let's spread my wings a little bit here, get a little more creative. show you some different stuff, maybe start bringing my family into the snaps and stuff like that. And then creating those segments. I blogged last week about that, where I call it the lens flare effect. So if you guys know J.J. Abrams movies, every movie he produces has lens flares in it. And he's been called on the carpet for it. And he's like, sorry, I got lens flares. What's happening? I think all of us need to find our lens flare. And even if it's that one thing per day, maybe it's the car talk I do in the morning, or, maybe you close each day with the same snap or same kind of snap. One of the things I love about Snapchat is when I am following people, I see something in each of their snap stories each day where it's like, ooh, I look for that. I love when Kami Sutra shows me that he goes on a quest in Glasgow to find all the street musicians. Love it. Or, Joel Comm does 10 fast snaps every day. And you're just like, boom, boom, boom. It's just that consistency, like, it's coming. I'm going to watch his story because it's coming. So just find that one, kind of that one anchor thing, and then just snap around it, and you guys will find your way. It's no one is J.J. Abrams on Snapchat where they're like, I'm going to critique your snaps. I don't know if you edited that right. I don't know if I would have retaken. No, just go snap, go be snappy and do it, and we'll all love it. So
let's brainstorm some really great, if you're a Main Street business, let's say you're a pizza shop or you're like a restaurant, maybe you're a CPA, right? Like maybe the people who you would least expect would be on Snapchat. I would think my CPA would not be on Snapchat.
Right.
So let's say you're a CPA and you're feeling a little bit sort of introverted. You're an introverted person, and this whole talking, it just occurs as very egotistical.
Right. I can see that, guys. And I think that this whole video thing can definitely feel like that, where you're like, oh, you're asking me to be a movie star. No, we're not. It really, if you think about it this way, so on Snapchat, all your friends can see your stories that day. But again, consider you pick your friends on Snapchat, and you can decide who's seeing what. And you don't have to share each snap with everyone. So maybe you just want to get on there and do your own snap and nobody sees it. And you're like, nope, I just did this for myself. Maybe it's a diary thing. But for those business owners who are like a little more introverted, I would say just step in a little bit. It could just be like, hey, I just want to get on and share my thought about this world thing. Or one of the easiest ways to get into this is giving a shout out to other people.
Nice.
They don't have to be on Snapchat either. I got on one time, I think, because my husband let me go to South by Southwest for 12 days and was here by himself with the kids, and he worked it all out and took care of everything. And so I'm like, I just need to give a snap out to my husband. I'm so thankful, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And that was a real moment. It wasn't about me. It was a real moment that a lot of people could probably relate to, say, yes, thank you. I feel appreciative about so-and-so too. So if in doubt about what to snap about, talk about somebody else, get on there and talk about Ivana and be like, she was awesome and did this thing and now we know more. It's awesome. I really wish everybody would do that. And you'll find that really opens some floodgates to say, okay, that was easy. I can talk about somebody else. And that leads you into talking about more stuff. So I guess I would say maybe get started that way if you're just really nervous. Don't focus on yourself. It's totally okay.
I love that. That is great. And that's great advice for question number 8, which is up there right now, which is all about service businesses, right? I talked about the CPA, talked about stuff. And, there are maybe other businesses. What's interesting about one of the, how translatable do you think it is? Like, let's say if you're a service, like my hairstylist, that's a service business. And she is great on Facebook.
Right.
Is awesome on Facebook. She's posting like cool hair and cool colors and cartoons and fun things and funny things. Like if you're a service business like that, what have you seen out there that are some really great strategies for service businesses, like for Snapchat?
Sure. So I think that particularly the how-to stuff. So particularly if you're a service, and coming from my service, social media is quite a mystery to a lot of business owners. They just know they need to be on it. They don't understand how it works. They don't understand the work that goes into it. So I've actually done some snaps too, where I'm like, let me just show you a little background, a little behind the scenes of how I do this and why it's a little insane. And, you know, I just get on, I'm like, so when I need to post for you, I'm going to these sites, you know, and I'm actually, you can, you know, do a screenshot of your screen and here's what I'm doing. And then I have to think, okay, well, I need to write copy for your social media post and I need to make sure it's inviting. So you're walking people through a process that they don't know how to do and you do. That could be actually very enlightening and fascinating for people who have no clue about a certain industry. You're talking about accounting. I don't care. I don't want to know. I use my QuickBooks very hesitantly because I'm like, I'm going to mess something up. I'm awful with that stuff. So if I can see someone saying, you know, here's what I do with your stuff when I get it, not get too much in the minutia, but maybe once in a while be like, no, it's deal with this and this and this. And you're educating people. Yes, the social media evangelists, but you're educating people about what you do just because then they're like, oh, wow, you earn that paycheck. You earn what you do and you did a lot to get where you are. But then, guys, if you are sharing that stuff on Snapchat about what you do, aren't you then just opening that up for questions like, well, how do I do this? Or how could you do this for me? So if I have a problem, can you help with that? Yes, I will. Let's private snap about it. And so by opening that up and just showing some how-to, that can really open up, say, oh, I understand more what you do. And then, of course, with all of us in our myopic, like, well, how does that impact me? You've got people saying, well, how can you help me then? You know, I have a question. Can you help me with this? And then, yes, point them. Now you share the web links. You're like, yes, please contact me on my email or things like that. So it's gets back to that inbound marketing where you're not really selling, you're showing, you know, and then allowing people to say, well, great. Well, can you show me more? Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Thank you for that invitation. Let's go. So, and I know, you know, talking about service businesses using Snapchat, and these were the questions we had in the Twitter chat. That's the gold. Oh my gosh, I love this part. Okay, snaps. When you do a private snap, so let's say you're on my story today, and you see the little chat thing at the bottom, and I say or do something, and you do, yeah, I want to chat at you, and you type me something. That's private. Nobody else sees that, guys. I see that. And then when I respond to you, that is also private. Okay. So that is an excellent conduit for answering questions and providing expertise. And think about all the possibilities. I mean, you're thinking about like someone asking medical questions or things like that, or like, yeah, it's financial. I don't want everybody to know I'm asking this. They can't ask that on Twitter. They would have to direct message you and stuff like that. This is how that works. It's a private way to message each other. And then also with regard to your hairstylist, ways that she could use Snapchat, you know, she could say, hey, all my Snapchat, you know, she could be on Facebook. If you follow me on Snapchat, you're going to see a discount code today for something I can do for you for your next style appointment.
Oh,
guess you better go follow me.
That's really good.
And then so you can get on there and say, so snap back at me. I have a 20% code. If you snap back right now this code, I will hook you up with your next appointment with me. Let's get that scheduled. So you can provide those deals and discounts on Snapchat versus on another platform. And then again, people are like, well, I can't make it in there. How do I do this? And you're just creating that service on Snapchat.
I love this. It gets us into question number 9.
Mm-hmm. Aha.
Right? We're moving through this we are moving through this quickly. Hey, by the way, how are you guys liking this format?
I know for a fact I'm not getting the tweets yet, and that's coming, guys. I promise you. You will see some retweeting action, commenting as soon as this is over. So I'm having a bit of
it's an interesting experience, isn't it? I don't know how you guys are liking it. Let me know if you like one or both or whatever. But to the point that you made about the service business and how one of the things I know about my hairstylist is that she wants to attract a younger audience. And we know that Snapchat does definitely have a younger audience. But here's what I'm thinking. How does the relationship building follower following strategy work?
Right. Okay. This is actually a bit controversial right now because of this little thing called ghost codes, which I'll talk about in a moment. Essentially, it works similarly when you get on Snapchat to other places. Usually it's about finding people and saying, okay, I happen to know you're on Snapchat, or I hope you're on Snapchat. So let's say you get on Snapchat and you're like, okay, I saw someone on Twitter, or I know a TV show that I like. I'm going to go on Snapchat and search for them and see if I find them. And you can search on Snapchat just by kind of typing in names. And okay, well, NPR is on Snapchat, by the way. So let's say I like NPR, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go on Snapchat and see if they're on there. And type in NPR. Oh my gosh, they do. They have a Snap. They have a Snap account. So I'm gonna friend them. Then I get to see their stories. So, and again, I want to point that out too. Snapchat relationships are friends. They're not fans and not followers. They're friends. And I really want to make sure I drive that home, that you guys need to think about that in that context. These aren't. And this isn't a fan base like, ooh, I'm just going to say stuff. People just totally love it. No, these are your friends. Treat them as such and respond to all those snaps. Just again, harping on that point. These are friends. So you are, by adding a friend, you want to call them a friend. You hope they call you a friend back, and then you guys can interact. Now, granted, you're probably not going to get that kind of treatment from NPR. I have yet to get a response back from them. Private Snap. That's okay, because I know they're a broadcaster. I'm like, that's fine. It'd be hella cool if they did, and maybe they will. But for right now, that's cool. But if I am friending another individual where I am seeing that individual snapping, I expect a response. So that's good etiquette. Do that. But I guess what I would say is, for a strategy, I would go out and try to find Snapchatters that provide benefit to you, whether that they are making you laugh, or you can tell they're being authentic and you really like learning about where they're living, or just what the quality of their snaps are. I love, if it's really different from your life, maybe you like that. You're like, I'm kind of vicariously living through. That's great. And just Snapchatters you honestly enjoy. And again, that's where the authenticity is important, because if you're not fake with yourself, you're going to draw people who relate to you and like you. If they don't like you, they'll find someone else they like, and that's cool. That's okay. So here's the controversy of it, though. We've all probably heard of Ghost Codes. Is a discovery app that is available for Apple, for iOS, not Android phones. And a lot of people are trying to they're adding themselves to that, and people can heart each other saying, oh, yeah, you're one of my favorites in the relationship category. You're one of my favorites in the funny Snapchatter category. But a lot of people are doing this heart bait thing, or I guess it's called kudos on Ghost Codes. Ghost Codes. So if you go look on Ghost Codes, I think they have a website, but it's an app on iOS, and I'm going to type that in here. But the problem with that is a lot of people are using heart baiting, where they're saying, well, I gave you a heart, you should heart me back. And other people are saying, well, I don't know your snaps yet. Why would I hurt you? So there's a lot of that crud going on. And
it's going to happen, I think, no matter what you do, no matter where you go. But, one of the things that we've gotten very good at, and it's just a matter of time before I'm trying to get, I've got somebody trying to call in. I'm going to see if I could let her in. It says MC.
Okay.
Whoops. She's having a difficult time. I'm trying to let you in, but it's not letting me. Anyway, the thing is that they're going to come up with a way to group and segment and focus on getting just the relationships that you want to see and you want to get. So I think that's really, really valuable.
Right.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about who you should follow and how to build those relationships. Let's spend the last few minutes chatting about how to get people to follow you. I think you might have actually even answered that question.
And I probably hammered on it a little bit throughout this time, but so I do have a couple just takeaways on this. I would, again, be yourself. Best thing, because then you're not fake, and people aren't going to be like, oh my God, suddenly you changed overnight. What the heck happened? Be like, well, I found myself again. Sorry. No, don't do that. Just be yourself. But yeah, take a look at those daily filters. I don't always remember to do this, guys, but each day the filters are different. Snapchat will issue out some filters. You'll also notice that there are filters related to movie openings or sports events. So if you are a big soccer fan, or you love the whole hockey playoffs or whatever, oftentimes you can see a filter in there like, ooh, that totally speaks to me because I love hockey. So I'm going to add that filter to my Snap. So go in and check those each day and see if any of those could apply to what you want to share. And again, those can often add to your authenticity. If you really like dogs, they always have a dog filter, always. And apparently they have a thing for pandas. So you can always find all those things in there. And again, Snapchat love great stories, and they're awesome for relating a message. So I would just say, you know, as you start getting used to snapping, maybe try to plan a little story. And again, all a story is, all it is a sequence of snaps and that kind of just walks people through an experience. I did one. I've got this big picture on my wall that's of me in my wedding dress on my wedding day, and I think it's totally obnoxious. It really is. It's a huge picture. My mom had it made of me after we got married, and I shared a story where I was kind of walking my Snapchat friends through the experience of me. You know, I didn't know this picture existed. I'm showing up at my mother-in-law's house, you know, to open presents, and I'm walking up the walk, and all of a sudden I just see this big old picture of me greeting everybody, and I'm like, God! And I was mortified because I was like, I don't want to, what is this? Who put that? My mom had put it out. So, you know, I was like, well, I guess it stays there. And so I shared that story, just like, how would you have felt if you were walking up like, look, there's a big picture of me, just biggest life, greeting everybody. And so I talked about that story. But again, it's just sharing that experience. Like, was that not the most awkward thing ever? And then people were able to react, say, oh my God, I would have died. Or like, oh, it's cool, you know, whatever. So
I just don't have this. Nothing goes off in my head. And I know, like, I don't know if Diana's still here, the post planner folks. This is where I wish they would come up with a post planner for freaking Blab.
Oh, right? I bet that'll be along the way. But seriously,
I just don't feel like so what do you tell the people who, like me, are like, I'm like not that interesting.
So think about it this way. Okay, I want you to think back over this weekend.
Right.
Did anything happen to you that you would have told your friends, be like, oh my God, let me tell you about this. I was at Starbucks and they mispronounced my name and it was like a bad word or something like that. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out. That's a story. So think about it that way. So maybe you could be like, okay, well, how would I relate that to my friend? You know, be like, well, so I'm sitting there and I'm waiting for my coffee and I'm happy as and all of a sudden you hear this like, blah, blah, oh my God, you know, so you're freaking out. But you could either tell the story as it happened, be like, I'm relating it to you just normally because you're my friend, or you could, maybe I could incorporate a little acting in here where I'm like, here I am just sitting there, happy as I am, you know, I'm doing a snap, and the next one could be like, coffee for so-and-so, and you're like, you're putting that in there. And that's not going to be for everyone, obviously, because everyone's like, well, I don't want to act, what the heck? But it can range from that really easy, I'm sitting at a table telling you the story, or it could go into the whole acting part. And I have to say, I don't grab the story that often. There are some excellent storytellers on Snapchat, and I follow them and watch them, and honestly, they do inspire, like, ooh, I could do something with this. It doesn't always happen, though. So you watch my stories.
Tip, I do. I watch your stories. I really do. I think that I think that's a great tip. I watch you. I watch Joel. You know, the biggest mistake I make is I follow people who are so awesome that
they're so good. And you're like,
you know.
I know.
So I want to bring something up that I saw in the news today. That was in my stream somewhere. Might have been in my Facebook stream. I don't know. Because I know that you are live streaming goddess, right? Because you're doing all things live stream. Have you seen? Have you seen? I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm too old to show my arms.
Long sleeve, right?
Yeah. So you've got them covered up. Mine are like a little showy. All right. So anyway, so on my Facebook stream was a story about, and I wonder if this is even a hoax. Teenagers where the one friend periscoped her so-called friend being raped. Have you seen this? Is this real?
Yeah, it's not a hoax. It's not a hoax. That really happened.
Oh my God, I can't even believe it.
Awful. Well, and that's disgusting. And you know, and that she's getting prosecuted, rightly so. And that's the problem. I think people they want that. You know, I want people right. Thank you, Ross. I know it's disgusting that factor of humanity is out there. And the unfortunate thing is, I think that you were coming from a place of insecurity where, I mean, at minimum, where someone would say, hey, I want so many people to watch my Periscope or follow me. I'm going to show something so inherently shocking that they'll do that. Well, duh, of course. And then you've got people who, I mean, I think there was a girl in the last year, she scoped while she was driving. Well, my cat tail's back here, so
Yeah.
I mean, really,
That was my 16-year-old's arm who just took Bogart in my lemonade.
Now that would have been a great snap. Been like, I was just talking to like, whose arm is that? But then you've got people like, I think some girl, she was periscoping herself driving drunk. Shocked when she got in trouble with that. I mean, seriously, people. So again, I mean, you have to, this is where I'm kind of glad that once again, the older set is moving into what was a tween, teen / millennial focused platform. I mean, they may say we ruin it. I say we're bringing common sense to it and say, look, you don't have to be shocking to gain friends and visibility, and be smarter about what you're doing to gain that. And that's, again, I mean, Joel Comm, again, I'm going to shout out just because he tweeted it out today. He said, don't put crap out on social media because you can't take it back. You can't,
and that's the thing with the Snapchat. Oh, but look, come on over here, baby. Since you walked into my thing, there we go. That's my blab.
Oh, I want to see the owner of this hand. What was that?
Stick your little face in here now that you're here. Say hey.
Yep, that's what happens, bro.
My
He's
giant,
like, never doing that again. Gah. Okay.
My giant child. So
they're getting big.
Wait, yeah, yours are little. Wait till they get big. Okay, sorry.
Oh, I know.
Double tap.
Bump, double tap pass. That's right. It's a double tap.
Okay, so so Joel Comm, he is, again, great.
He's a really good storyteller.
Snapchat, it doesn't really go away though, does it? I don't think anything goes away.
This what cracked me up when that all came out was they had Snapchat before. I mean, the snaps would go, and they do. After 24 hours, guys, they're gone. You can't see them anymore. And they had this whole thing like, oh, they're vanished. They're totally gone. And all of us who've ever worked in the internet, we're like, no, they're not. Nothing's ever gone from the internet. The internet is like the elephant's memory. Everything's there. It's always there. You can always, and they can always get to it. So of course the news came out like a couple years ago saying, well, actually, your snaps don't really go away. They are archived somewhere. And oh my God! And of course they're. And so it is about raising that awareness, kids or anyone getting on the internet. I always I don't know if you guys ever watch South Park. I do, but I always picture if there's a guy in a basement somewhere who's always on the internet and he's screen capturing everything.
Right. Yeah.
And to go exploit later. And so that's why it's important. I mean, any snap I put out can be held against me in a court of law at some point. So just remember that. I mean, you do want to be authentic. So that's why it's important to be positive, be true. Don't be crappy on social media.
Yeah. Look at that. And look at the comment you got from Via Vittles.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's so
right.
True.
That's so true. And that's just icky. I mean, and God, that could be a whole other blab. Actually, maybe I'll do that on Thursday night. But yeah, that could be a whole other blab or chat or whatever about. Please don't be dumb on social media. It goes somewhere.
It goes somewhere.
Someone out there.
You know what my advice was to my son and his friends one day? It is back in the day. If you didn't want anyone to know what you did. Mm-hmm. You didn't tell them.
That's right.
And today, if you don't want anyone to know what you're doing, don't do it.
Right.
Because unfortunately, people are going to be grabbing you or, I don't mean it that way. That came out all wrong. You don't know who's got the camera, like in that story. That story, you don't know who's got the camera. And that was just like really unfortunate.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, I just, general best practice with any social media is, think about what you're sharing. I have 2 kids, they're youngish, and I do let them be in some snaps. I make sure I'm careful about what we show in snaps. Obviously, and I also try to never show things that would indicate my address on snaps. I mean, that's just the way I like to roll. But and there have been things like that too. You just want to be careful what you're putting out there. Your kids can totally add to your snaps, but maybe they don't want to add to your snaps. Hello.
I got you in here. I don't know what has been going wrong, but I've not been able to let everyone in, and I'm so sorry. So, MC, do you have a question for us before we tune out?
Oh my gosh.
I just want to start learning Blab and just communicating and meeting nice new people. I'm a business owner, so I just stumbled across it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Yes, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Did she freeze? She froze for me.
On getting.
I don't know what happened.
Rachel?
There she is.
There she is. Are you there?
Yeah, you froze for like 10 seconds. So like, you're coming back. I knew it.
I knew it. I knew it. Do you have a question for us?
No, I'm just listening and learning as I go along.
Excellent. Cool. Excellent. All right. So we're just about to wrap up. Rachel, thank you so much for stepping in. I had a guest bounce today and I tweeted out to Rachel, that just shows how you can build real relationships online.
It does. That's right.
And she stepped in like a boss. That's something I really love about business owners, like helping each other, taking care of each other. So I love that.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Sorry, what was that?
You do this every day?
No. I don't Blab every day. And actually, you lucked out that I even did makeup today. But yeah, no, I do. I think Blab my Blab heavy days are Tuesdays. But then you always have to be ready to hop in a Blab because like you're with us on Blab.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, but and I just wanted to point out to you guys, as soon as we hang up here, I'm going to be going to my notifications feed in Twitter and going through that to make sure I catch everybody. I'd love it if you guys would go at least take a look at my stories on Snapchat. I am not requesting that you friend me. If you like what you see, great. If not, go out and be blessed and find another Snapchatter you like. There are plenty to be had. But yeah, I love it. I think it's a great
for me, so I don't know what you're talking about snapping and all this.
Well, hopefully this whole thing was beneficial and helped people
can come back,
figure it out.
You can watch the replay. There's lots of good information. Okay, MC?
How?
When I close this down, it'll take some time to process, and then there'll be a replay.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. I want to thank all you people for being here. Thank you for playing with our tweet, chat, and Blab all at once. That was really fun. That went.
I was very energized. Now I'm very hungry, and I'm going to go eat.
Yeah, awesome. You guys have a good lunch. MC, thank you for joining us. It was great seeing you, and goodbye, everybody.